Wow.
Okay, well, would you like to read us a little bit from it?
Yeah, I hope it's pouring right now. I hope you can't hear that.
No, we can't, actually.
Good, perfect. Okay, so I've sort of set us up already that Quinn, who has traumatic brain injury, has post-traumatic amnesia. In her everyday life, she can't remember anything for more than an hour. And she was working late at the florist shop, went to take garbage out, and in the shadows of the alley, she witnessed a murder. She then goes back inside, makes copious notes because she knows she's not going to remember, given another sort of 50 minutes, how things had gone down out in the alley. Then she calls the police. At the point where we are here in the story, two officers have shown up, Officer Clark and Officer Lugo, and she is taking them back out into the alley to show them what happened and to explain what happened. Officer Lugo scanned the alley where they stood. Where did the murder occur? Quinn felt two sets of eyes focus on her expectantly as Lugo impatiently cut to the chase. She pointed to the location where the alley opened up but fell into shadows. There. Lugo pulled his flashlight off his belt and flipped it on. Clenching it in a fist raised to his shoulder, he shone the light over grainy concrete, scattered garbage, and graffitied walls. He turned back to Quinn. Tell us what happened. The victim entered the alley and pressed against the wall there. A man? Lugo asked. Yes. A quick glance at Quinn's notes. He was tall, slender, kind of a wiry build. She looked up to find Clark frowning down at her notebook and pushed onwards. Short hair or bald, seemed nervous. Did he speak? No. When I saw him come into the alley, I thought he was coming for me, so I hid over there. She indicated the dumpsters at the far end. But then I realized he hadn't seen me. He was watching for someone else. What makes you say that? His body language. He moved furtively and then pressed against the wall like he was trying to disappear. Clark paused his writing, his pen suspended over his notepad. How long until the second person appeared? Maybe a minute, maybe slightly longer. A man? That one she was sure of, yes. And what did he look like? Another furtive notebook check, this one taking longer as she lost her place and had to find the exact piece of information. He was bigger, dressed all in black, moved very, look at me. Quinn froze and then forced herself to peer up at Clark. Keep your eyes on me. How did he move? Aggressively. What happened next? No, don't look at your notes. What happened next? He attacked the man in the alley. How? Quinn closed her eyes and concentrated. It was like the memory was trapped behind frosted glass, indistinct and rapidly dissolving. It was terrifying to feel it sifting through her fingers like sand. She'd never tried to retain a single specific memory for any length of time. Usually she moved through her day, and then when she tried to think back, it was gone. This was like watching someone die by inches as the last seconds of the man's life disintegrated in real time. But the more she pushed, the harder panic clawed along her spine, catching her breath and freezing her blood. The more the memory slipped out of reach. There was no choice but to tell them. Look, after I witnessed the murder, I went inside and wrote everything down. Sometimes my memory isn't good, especially when I'm under stress, so I wanted to make sure I captured everything. The incident just happened. I want you to tell me what you saw, not what you have in your little script. It's not a script that you possibly wrote a couple hours ago or that someone wrote for you. That is not it at all. Prove it to us. Put the book away and tell us what happened in your own words. These are my words. She looked from one man to the other, read suspicion in both expressions. Let me walk you through it. She barreled on, openly reading from her notes, describing a scene she'd witnessed in all the details she could include. A knot tangled in her stomach at the growing unfamiliarity of the tale she told, and she stumbled several times in the telling as she looked up and caught the eye of one of the officers. She was losing their attention, losing their trust. They didn't believe her. It was Clark who finally broke the silence. We'd like you to go back into the flower shop. Make sure the doors are locked and please wait for us there. We're going to wait for the crime scene techs to arrive and to go over this alley with a fine-tooth comb. Then we'll come find you. Can you do that for us? His tone wasn't cruel or derogatory, simply detached as he dealt with someone who was doing nothing more than wasting the department's precious time. Yes. Her voice sounded small and defeated even to her own ears, which in turn only fed the shame roiling inside her. Thanks. Turning away from her, the men walked toward the SUV at the end of the alley and into the wash of flashing red and blue lights illuminating the growing crowd on the far side of the car. Quinn returned to the rear door of the shop and let herself into the quiet, fragrant space. Then she simply hung her head and blinked back the tears burning her eyes and blurring her vision. The man who died had one person who could have given law enforcement some clue as to what happened to him. One person who could have helped bring justice to him, to his family, to those he loved, and those who had loved him in return. One person, her. She'd failed.
Wow. That's written so, I think, true to life, or if anyone's ever had to deal with the police, it's
Yeah,
that's pretty accurate.
very good.
Dead